Hey guys, what's going on? Banana156 here with another video. This video is going to be the final video on fascism for a while. In this video I'm going to be going over 3 different types of fascism. But before we get into that, remember to like, dislike, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I do read all comments, so make sure to leave one. But yeah, so the 3 types of fascism that we'll be going over is Nazism, current American fascism, and I'm not quite sure what to call it, but like Marxist-Leninism or like tankies. But yeah, I already made a video on tankies, so I feel like we should do them first. But yeah, I consider tankies fascist because, first of all, they are in favor of a massively powerful state. They want a totalitarian regime almost, like the ones in favor of China. China is a totalitarian regime, and they constantly strip the rights away of people. They are in favor of state-mandated media. They are in favor of propagating a huge state. They are in favor of massive authoritarianism. And first of all, a main component of fascism is the emergence of corporate and state power. China is a perfect example of that. They have merged their corporate power very well with their state. Well, I mean, not very well. I mean, it performs well, but it's not a good system. It's bad for the workers. It's bad for everything. They don't believe in human rights. Like, if you look at the Soviet Union and you look at China, they don't believe in human rights. And even if some of them stand North Korea is literally the worst country on the planet. But yeah. Why else are tankies fascists? Well, first of all, they have a lot of them, like with the plot mechanism that most fascist regimes have, like the reliance on a plot. It is like most of the time the plot is like, if it's in China, it's like the West is, or like Western media is trying to make us look bad. They're trying to make us look terrible. They're gonna do stuff to us. Or like North Korea, it's very much like that. In the Soviet Union, they killed a lot of they called them gulags because of their plot. But the main thing is that they do still have a plot. It's just a little bit more, not less intense, but a little bit more diluted than, say, Nazis or even American fascists. But the main component with them is that they also still engage in massive misinformation. They like, especially China currently with the Uyghur genocide, they are trying to cover it up so hard, and everyone knows that's happening. But they are genociding a group of people because they don't like they're just genociding them because that's what fascists do. And they are trying to cover it up massively. They only have state-mandated media, so they won't allow it in the media there. There have been leaked documents, there have been leaked things, so that's how we know about it. And I mean, it's that, so we can figure out from the leaked documents that they are genociding them. And yeah. Now the main thing with tankies is that they claim to be socialist, but they never push any socialist points. Like, I'm a socialist, and the main points that I push are for the working class. They never talk about the working class. All their arguments are just terrible, and they're always defending things like the Soviet Union and China, and these places are near indefensible. Like, how can you defend what China's doing currently? Their working conditions, their pollution, them genociding people, their blatant authoritarianism, they're not allowing basically any opinion, them not allowing any other media besides the state-mandated one. How can you defend that country in any logical sense? Well, the only logical sense that you can is fascism, because fascism isn't logical. But yeah, that's my basic opinions on tankies. If you want to see a more in-depth perspective, go watch the video that I published a while back. I go more in depth, but I just wanted to go quickly over them because they're the other kind of fascism that is still prevalent today, along with American fascism. Now, the next fascists that I want to go over are like the Nazis, because they're like the OGs. They're like when you think of fascism, you think of Nazis. But, so, what were the Nazis? They were a massive authoritarian regime, like China, very much like China, or very much in the way they were authoritarian. They Now the key thing with them is that they nail down all of the 14 points that we went over in the first 2 videos to a T. They have every single one. Hitler was very good at appealing to social frustration because how did he rise to power? Oh, Germany just lost World War I. Their economy was trash. They were under sanctions from everyone because of World War I. And that caused a lot of social frustration in people. So he appealed to it, and he gave them something to believe in. He gave them something to believe in and appealed to their social frustration. The next key point, other than social frustration, that the Nazis hit very well is the emphasis with a plot. The whole Jewish questioning thing. Like, the Jewish Bolsheviks are going to come in, they're having a massive conspiracy to take over and undermine the people, and there's always that plot. Not only are they coming in, they're using black and brown people as ways to take out the country from the inside out. Now, I could go through all the points and go how the Nazis hit on nearly all of them. I'm just going to go through a few more, like them using propaganda and using impoverished vocabulary. So the main point with using an impoverished vocabulary and not letting the people know terms is because if they don't understand the terms, it is very easy to make the term scary, and it also makes it harder to critique the system. Because if you don't understand how the system works, how are you going to critique it? If you don't understand the terms necessary to critique it, how are you going to critique it? And if you don't understand what the terms are, they are very easily weaponizable, or like very easy to radicalize you to be scared of. And and the Nazis made a whole thing off of being afraid of difference, and anything that was different, any threat or anything that was different was a threat, and if they were a threat, they'd be put in the concentration camps, and you would be constantly told that. And the next major point that they hit on was the death cult and heroism and action for action's sake. They don't want you thinking about the actions. They want you to be mindlessly patriotic and go serve in the army go serve in the Nazi army for your country, and just go to die for them. Because if you look at like the populations of the Allies and the resources that they had, the Nazis were never going to win. They were never going to win. So it was just basically sending people to die and making them be mindlessly patriotic, so they felt good while doing it. But yeah, those are the main. They do hit every point. I could go through all of them, but I feel like we've already went through all the points, and it would be pretty self-explanatory as to how they hit them. But yeah, the next kind of fascism that I want to talk about is American fascism. So mainly the Republican Party. So how are they fascist? Well, first of all, let's go over a few main points. So let's talk about impoverished vocabulary again. Have you ever listened to one of Donald Trump's speeches? Because I've listened to many of them, and he doesn't use words. He doesn't use big words. He doesn't use if he does use big words, he doesn't use them correctly, and he does this so his audience, or not his audience, I guess his voter base, don't understand the words, and then they become scared of them, like capitalism, not communism, socialism. And not only is Trump guilty of this, literally every right-wing talking head is. Like Jordan Peterson saying postmodern neo-Marxist. There is no such thing as a postmodern Marxist or neo-Marxist. It's just an empty word. Or like cultural Marxist, which is literally a shoo-in for cultural Bolshevik, which is the same language that the Nazis used for the Jews back then. And they are very populism, like point 13 about selective populism. There is in our future TV or internet populism in which the emotional response of a selected group or citizens can be presented as the majority. This is perfect. This is just Fox News doing what Fox News does, what Ben Shapiro does, what Steven Crowder does, what all of the talking heads do. They want to present points and make you think like everyone thinks this way. The next thing is contempt for the weak. I think it is fairly obvious that they have contempt for the weak, and when I do a video on Edmund Burke, I will show how modern-day conservatives have a contempt for the weak. And, well, modern-day conservatives are fascist by my logic. But They have contempt for the weak. Think about all the voter suppression that's been going on. Think about the low-paying jobs, the no benefits. They don't want you to feel. They don't want the poor or the weak or the minorities to have any power. They want them to be at the bottom of the bottom. They don't want anyone to have any power of any sort. And now think about, like, the cult of tradition. Like, Charlie Kirk just recently tweeted out something about critical race theory, saying they need to be teaching about the Bible and core American values. If that's not cult of tradition, I don't know what it is. And they always press these traditional Americanist values. Like, it's the same argument every single time from them. And they always push. I would argue that they've hit most of these points. Like, in some way or another, modern day conservatism, with air quotes, reaches all of these points with near flying colors. You could watch Donald Trump's 4th of July speech from last year, and I'm sure you could at least get 10 out of 14 hit. And if you don't get in for the 4 that's missing, go watch a different speech, and I'm sure he will hit them. But yeah, thank you all for watching this fascist series. I enjoyed making it. It was fun going over fascism, and I like doing it. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I wanted to bring light to these different forms of fascism, especially like tankies and American fascism, because they're relevant. Well, I mean, the Nazis are relevant today as well, but they're like actual potential. Like, the tankies have an actual government, China, and American fascism is a threat. But yeah, I just wanted to go over those. Thank you all for watching, and yeah. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I do read all comments, so make sure to leave one. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys